All right, everybody. Hello and welcome. You are here today for 5 secrets to writing a resume that gets you hired. My name is Albert. I am the founder of Albert's List. We're a job search organization here, helping you become the most resilient professional you can possibly be with job search, AI, and side hustle skills. And with me today is Garrett Rice of Callings.ai. You will hear a little bit from both of us later. You'll hear a little bit from both of us today as we talk about 5 secrets to writing a resume that gets you hired. So, a little bit about me. I'm a content strategist, product marketer, and writer for tech companies in the San Francisco Bay Area and beyond. I founded Albert's List, which is a community of 50,700 members on Facebook to support and connect job seekers and professionals such as yourself to various resources. You can find us on Albert's Job Listings and Referrals, San Francisco Bay Area on Facebook. And you probably also can find us on Eventbrite too, as many of you did. And I was born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area. Okay. All right, so a little bit about Albert's List here. We're that community with 50,700 people, including recruiters, job seekers, hiring managers, and more. That QR code up here in that corner will send you to that particular page. Just let us know you found us on this Zoom webinar, and we will let you in. What we do is we run job search and entrepreneurship bootcamp webinars to drive career success so that you can be the most resilient professional possible. And we invite you to join us, introduce yourself, and get to know our members. And so today's agenda is fairly cut and dry. It's pretty simple. We're going to talk a little bit about what a resume is in the first place. Then we're going to hop into the 5 secrets. And then we're going to give you some next steps and ideas for things that you can do as you head into your week and think about how to update and edit your resume. As a piece of housekeeping here, we are recording this webinar, so it'll be available on our YouTube channel. You're also encouraged to chat with each other and network within the webinar chat. Share your LinkedIn. Let us know where you're dialing in from and how we can help you so that we can all be in this job search journey together. I know there's been some crazy things that have happened today. If you're somebody who's working at Amazon, if you're somebody who's working at Target, our hearts go out to you. And so if you are one of those types of people, on this webinar today, let us know so that we can, really give you the support that you need to be successful as you make your transition into wherever you go next. All right, so what is a resume? In short, a resume is a marketing document that's designed to start a conversation between you and the employer. It is really there for attention grabbing and meant to tell a story of what you have done in the past with the intention of giving a hiring manager hope that whatever you did in the past can connect to what you do in the future, and that past success is an indicator of also future wins. Your job is to validate employers by matching your resume to their keywords and being able to tell that initial match while also being able to create those compelling stories that can be used to really drive the conversation during the interview process and really give people a chance to at least know you from the very surface level. And a resume is used all over your job search journey, especially when you're in a hiring process for a company. Number one, it's used for recruiter reach out. And in the recruiter reach out, it is meant to serve as a document to get to know you at a 50,000-foot view. Recruiters want to know whether you are qualified for the job, and they're going to nitpick and point out at certain things that speak to what it is that you are capable of doing. They want to know your stories, your capabilities, and your qualifications. This is often followed by the hiring manager conversation, the person who will work with you, as your boss. The hiring manager conversation with your resume is a deep dive conversation on your experience, trying to understand situations that you've been in and how you've navigated those situations. And then further to that, also understanding how potentially your past experience can serve in a future role. The next one where it might come in handy is the peer conversation. Within the peer conversation, the within the peer conversation, you are talking to your colleagues and your potential future colleagues. And your future potential colleagues want to know whether what you've done in the past is something that they know that they want to confirm that you've done that work and can work collaboratively and can speak the jargon of the particular work that you will be doing. And then finally, at the executive level conversation where you speak to the director, perhaps a C-suite individual, they will want to know whether you understand what's at stake in general within the organization and within the industry that you're about to enter, and whether you can really do the work in general. They're not looking for those details like the hiring manager or the peer conversation. They just want to know that you are paying attention. And so, what are we in now? We're in a really, really competitive job market. Corporate openings do attract up to and more than now 250 resumes per job listing. And out of these candidates, these companies are going to pick 4 to 6 to interview, and only one of them will get the job offer. As you may also know, we are at a point here, at least in the United States, where there are more job openings than people who are looking for work. And with Amazon laying off 14,000 people today and Target laying off another 1,000 people today, it's only going to get more competitive and you're only going to have even more resumes per job opening. And so it's important for you to make a very good first impression. And so, with all so that too, you're also going to have a lot of people take advantage of AI. 70% of hiring managers say they've seen some sort of AI use in the application process. And so, ChatGPT may become your best friend, but you also need to make sure that you are editing and that you are making sure that there is no hallucinations with your experience. Yeah, Robin says, I was recently told in a rejection email that they had over 1,800 applicants. So here's the other thing, right? If you are somebody who is entry level or somebody who is early, mid level, you are going to see even more competition at this juncture because you are going to be competing with a lot of people who have a similar level of experience as you do. And even more so now, I would say if you're going into the senior level, you're going to be competing against people who are from the Metas of the world, the Amazons, the Targets, and so forth. And it's going to be increasingly competitive. And so it's going to be important for you to tell the right story so that companies know exactly off the bat what it is that you're looking for and what you want. And so, with that said, we're going to actually start with our secrets. So, now that we know what a resume is, we're going to go into the 5 secrets of what makes your resume somebody that people want to read and something that people want to hire. The first secret of that is to tell a story and to capture attention. And so, depending on where you are in your career, your resume can often take on two different types of uses. One is what we all know is the chronological resume. The chronological resume is a resume that you use to really share in order the step by step and day by day of what you've done from job to job, from today going towards when you first started your career. And these are for people who generally have few or no unemployment gaps. They're looking to advance in their career, and they're possibly applying to these traditional or corporate roles in startups or larger companies. For individuals who might be career changers that want to highlight transferable skills, so for example, you're going from technology into education, or you want to go from education into sports, or something of that sort, you are trying to explain to somebody what it is that you will be able to transfer from the role that you were in into the role that you want to go into. And these can also for people who have employment gaps or freelancers or recent graduates with limited experience. But all in all, at the end of the day, your job in this whole entire experience is to tell a story. Recruiters and hiring managers, at the end of the day, what they want to do is they don't want to play a guessing game with you. They want to know and understand what it is that you want to do and why on earth you applied to their open role. So what you need to do is you need to show some kind of relevancy. You need to match the job and you need to show that you have a level of self-awareness, either somewhere in the top part of the resume in the highlights or summary section that builds your candidacy. The other thing about a resume that I want to also dispel today is that's really important is that if you are still using an objective statement like our parents and grandparents probably did on their resumes, you need to take that objective statement off. The joke that I kind of say to this, and this is probably more serious than anything, is that your objective is to get a job. It's a job in an area that you know how to do the work, that you are capable and have expertise within. And so if you are writing objectives trying to dance around the statement, you can safely retire that section. So it is obvious to anybody who is seeing your resume that you are submitting a resume because you are looking to possibly work there. And so instead of objective statements, use summary statements or use highlight sections. Yes, the resume summary would be the new objective statement, and we're going to talk about that a little bit because in that summary section is going to be what it is that you've done, and you're going to have to capture attention that way instead. Objective statements do not capture attention. And so we're going to talk a little bit about talk a little bit about these aspects on your resume. Okay, let me get out of that. And I usually had an animation here, but I'm going to go through each of these sections one by one. So on your resume, you're going to see a section that says that from the very top, and this is my resume. What you're going to do is you're going to start at the top where it says SaaS product marketer and content strategist and indicate the type of role that you are looking for. When you do that, it really indicates very quickly to the hiring manager that you know what kind of job it is that you want and that they probably shouldn't move on as long as you apply to the relevant role. The next section about that is the summary section, which you will see right here. So this is where my mouse is. The summary section or the highlight section, depending on where you are in your career, is a bulleted section that or summary paragraph section that highlights your work and what have you have done and the numbers that you have accomplished. Numbers will help a lot here because as we'll see later, companies will only spend 6 seconds on your resume at most, especially when they're coming through all the resumes that are out there. Underneath that is your skill section. And this is very important to the applicant tracking system. So if you're able to go ahead and separate skills by comma, that will be very important to companies because that will pass the skill sections that they are looking for when they type in and put in their job descriptions. And then the next part is your professional experience. If you are a new graduate, then also put your skills in between your skills and your professional experience, your recent education. So if you graduated from school within the last 3 to 5 years, your education section will go there. In the next section, after your relevant professional experience, you're going to put in your other experience like your side hustles and entrepreneurship. This is something that you can put here because we do live in a world where side hustles are the new black, but even more so to that, you want to be able to showcase that you are also applying and learning new skills outside of your day-to-day workday into potential jobs that may be of interest to you. Underneath your other experience, if you are somebody who has not recently graduated from school, you then put your education, certifications, and languages. And if you're entry level, like I said again, this goes between your skills and education section. And within here, you can also put in your foreign languages that you speak as well. One other thing to consider too, and we're going to talk about ageism and overcoming bias in a little bit, is that if you are also somebody who has graduated college and it has been a while, then go ahead and also take your year of graduation off, as that's also going to be something that that may increase ageism from companies, especially when you submit your resume. Yes, the intermediate part of Spanish is misspelled. Yep, that's another thing. Be detailed. We'll go into that one a little bit later too. The next piece that I want to talk about with regards to your resume is that companies are only going to spend 6 seconds on reading your resume, and it's usually in the top left-hand corner. If you look at all the heat maps of resumes online, you'll notice that most of them generally tend to spend time in the top left-hand corner. So within here, if somebody's going to take a look at your resume, make sure that within this triangle area or so, that you have maybe the best skills as well as the most impressive results that you've built for the companies that you have worked for. And so this is the section to really lay it out, whether it's your job title, whether it's within your summary or highlights, your skills, and the last role you held. So there we go. The other thing is that when it comes to telling the story in your resume is that some of your resumes are going to have gaps, right? A lot of us have gone through the pandemic. We may have been laid off for quite a while now, especially as the job market gets harder. And it's important for you to cover those gaps meaningfully. Number one, right? Things like caregiving and caring for a loved one, an elderly one, or a sick one. Those is considered work. Consulting work that you've also done, whether you've worked for a small business or whether you've volunteered your time, those also matter as well. It is all to showcase how you have spent your time away by highlighting what have you have learned along the way while you have not worked. And so even if it comes to a point where you put your other experience into the main experience section, all of those can be value driving when it comes to what a company will learn from you. If you were sick for 3 years, yes, I would say find a way to quantify what it is that you did during those 3 years outside of caring for yourself. So if you read, if you picked up a long-term project that was a personal project, all of those things count, and then talk about what you learned during that time. Of course, if you also run into a company that sees that you were sick for 3 years and you mention that, and you mention what you learned, but they penalize you for being sick, that's probably not a company that you want to work for in the first place. Yes, took personal development courses, took online courses, and then even more so to that, how you applied the knowledge from those personal development and online courses. Can you mention motherhood? I would shy away from mentioning motherhood. Caregiving could be a little bit better only because you want to be able to also avoid mentioning things, especially in this job market, that will get you disqualified and also possibly discriminated against. Um, so that's one thing there. Okay, so the second secret that we're going to talk about is to show impact. When it comes to your resume, companies hire, we want to know companies hire because they want to reach their goals. Goals are the outcome of achieving a result, and hiring managers want your past successes to be an indicator of future results. Your resume kickstarts that process within the interview. And so while being a doer is great, you also want results to really showcase that you're not only capable of doing it, but you've also helped out the business. As the title of this slide shows, impact is greater than intent. Um, you can also be somebody who perhaps at one of your projects only had intent, but you also need to showcase that you can change the business somehow as they hire you. And so when it comes to writing your resume and the work that you've done, the action verbs within your resume are always going to be key. Um, Companies obviously don't hire unless they need something to be grown, unless they need something to be managed, or they need something to be operated upon. So when you think about all of these things, your action verbs are going to fall under several different categories, from improving something to leading a project, creating something, managing a team, or conducting a research. And all of these are going to be really things that connect back to what a company needs. So feel free to take a screenshot of this. It'll also be in our recording later. Here's some more action verbs, right? And these are all things that are organized by skill set, whether you're somebody in the financial industry, somebody who's technical, somebody who's in a leadership mentorship position, or somebody who is communicating. All of these verbs come into play because you'll also look at these into job descriptions and see where they match. And so, how do you write one of these, right? And I've taken a piece from my resume to showcase what it is that this looks like. And so, oftentimes, when you are writing a description for what you did, the format is a verb plus some project that you did, leading to resulting in some kind of result relevant to the role. And this is crucial to your resume because these are the things that companies are going to be looking at to make sure that you have done the work and also can create the results that they're looking for. So, for example, when I was at Oracle from 2019 to 2022, I led the Oracle HCM Cloud blog program. And what I did there was create marketing campaigns, build top of funnel awareness, and I led to the creation of 500,000 plus page views, 300,000 plus unique level HR readers over the 36 months that I was there of a multi author blog that consisted of professionals from product marketing, influencers, executives, and colleague partnerships. And so, what does that really tell the person who wants to hire me when they look at my resume? That number one, I led. And then number two, the project that I led was in the content marketing division. And what did that lead to? It led to the number of page views and the unique level of HR, of readings from HR leaders. And all of that, in some sense, also drove financial outcomes. It drove click throughs to our product pages. And those are all things that, as a marketer, a lot of companies are going to be looking for because they realize what they want is somebody who can drive results so that the company can ultimately make money. Okay, so the other thing about this is as you write this section on your resume, one thing that I've noticed a lot when it comes to reviewing Albert's List resumes over the years, and I've seen a lot of these resumes over the years, is to watch if you are selling yourself short. We've had people who join who are PhDs. We've had people who join who have written books. And you might never hear from any of these things because they've hidden it all in the copy of their resume. So when it comes to writing your resume as well, have somebody take a look at what you've done in your past careers. Make sure that they know what it is that you are capable of doing, and then make sure that you are not selling yourself short. Because I can assure you that if we were to do a resume thing today, many of us are. Okay, so now we're going to hit to secret number three, which is to hit the relevant points. So when it comes to your writing your resume, one of the other things that we want to mention is to hit the relevant points. Because a lot of us take a look at our resume often and we put down like all the 15 different bullet points of everything that we did day by day. And unfortunately, what that does is it extends our resume from like one page to 3 pages. And so, what you want to do is you want to place relevant items to your background within the resume. Diana, you had asked this question earlier with regards to hiring for jobs in chief of staff, HR, and advisory work, what the best way to structure a resume is. And the best way to do that is to ensure that you are writing your resume in a way where you not only just have the areas relevant to the work that you do, but it is relevant specifically to the job that you want to apply for. So if you're going for that HR job, make sure you don't have chief of staff roles in there unless you are going to be somebody who is supporting a chief HR officer. The other thing is you want to cut what doesn't matter. So I've been in working for now for 15 years or so. And one of the things that I've started to do is to start cutting the items from the first really 3 to 5 years of my resume because it's not relevant or as relevant anymore. I started out my career in social media, but a lot of what social media has evolved to and become is a lot different. And so, even though I've done some of that work in the past and I've demonstrated competency, that competency may not necessarily apply from 2012 into 2025. And that's the other thing about your resume is to be modern. What happened 20 years ago or even 10 years ago is not important unless you really think it is. So there are some things, of course, that have also not changed over the past 20 years. And if those are still relevant to the jobs that you're applying to, then keep those on. So this tends to be a resume by resume example. The other thing is to alleviate your risks to ageism, right? And so when it comes to what goes on within ageism, you want also to figure out what it is to make sure that you look modern, right? Modern in the sense of how you come across. So on your resume, that's your email address. You've also probably heard this before from somebody who says that if you use an AOL.com email address, or if you use something like a Yahoo email address, you look like somebody who might be from 20 to 25 years ago. Gmail is the more modern way to go. And if you're somebody who is technical and you have your own website, using your name at yourwebsite.com is probably going to win you ultimate brownie points because it shows that you are somebody who is looking for that level of professionalism. Okay. And so that goes into resume length as well, right? So we mentioned that the average resume length tends to be 489 words and about 2 pages or so. In these days, of course, because so many resumes are digital, you can probably go to 3 pages if it's relevant. But my recommendation is not to, because that only means more paper when they print it out. And it also means that you're not able to tell that story. So if you can stick your story into 2 pages and really keep everything that you have there, then that is the ideal way to go. And so most resumes, unfortunately, today miss that sweet spot. And you really want to get to a point where you can fit all of the relevant things that you do in your career into that 2 page limit. And so, right, if you are somebody, and this is, some recommendations here too, if you're somebody who just graduated, your resume should be 1 page. If you're early professional to mid level, then you probably should be going to 1 to 2 pages. And senior executive is probably 2 pages still as well. And only if you're somebody who is applying to become like a professor level or a researcher level at a university, should your resume go a lot longer than that. And if you're somebody who's transitioning from being an academic and researcher into private sector, then your resume should be that 1 to 2 page length or so. Okay. All right. So here's the next thing that we have. Secret number 4. And some of you already saw this because, I didn't have this on my resume with the misspelling of the word intermediate, is details, details, details. And details are really important right now because we are in a super competitive market. Companies want every single excuse to eliminate you. Everything from you putting your picture to not having a modern email to somebody who doesn't follow up on time. It is important for you to copy edit your resumes. Make sure that if you use AI, you don't fall victim to hallucinations. Be realistic if you use data that you can't confirm. Be skilled in the skills you list, and be strategic about the dates of employment. So I didn't quite mention this, but if you're going back to my resume here at the very beginning, one of the other things that you'll notice is that if you've done a lot of contract roles like myself or have been laid off because we are in tech, I use years to denote the work that I've done. Now, of course, because I've been in some of these companies for a lot longer, I might start ending up putting like November of 2022 to present, or May of 2019 to October of 2022. But generally speaking, if you're somebody who has done a lot of projects along the way, being somebody who uses those years instead can also show that you have a sense of longevity, but also overcome any red flags that you may showcase. And then, of course, format your resume in a modern manner. So don't use hidden tables. Don't use multiple colors. Don't put photos on your resume unless you're trying to go for a modeling or an acting gig and so forth like that. You also, right, don't want to put the photo on there, right? So if you're applying to be a model or an actor, there is no need for a photo. Although my understanding is that in countries abroad, that sometimes a photo is necessary. But if you are going for the United States here, then a photo will not be necessary. Let's see. If you have a question, and I see a lot of questions on the webinar chat, use the Q&A function so that we can go down through these questions one by one at the end, because people are using the webinar chat to network and share their LinkedIn profiles. Ageism is also a market that is an issue too, especially in a job market like this. And ageism is unfortunately something that is rampant for those who are young and old. For those who are young, a lot of companies don't want to hire young because they want to use AI instead, or they want to have people do more work with fewer people. And in an older ageism market, you unfortunately have a lot of individuals who are overlooked and you go towards younger people because um, you sense this notion that older people are too expensive. So how do you overcome ageism? Number one is you use relevant experience that matches the job need. So don't mention every single thing that you've done, but mention the things that you know in your bullet points are going to match with the particular job that you're applying for. You want to highlight your new skills. So if you're using AI now, you definitely want to have AI on your resume in some way, form, or manner. Remove your graduation dates. Choose your email address wisely. And of course, modernize your resume. So, right, your resume is still black and white. You're not using any fancy text and you're keeping it simple into just the facts. And so, with all of those, you can overcome at least a little bit of ageism in this market. Then we're going to head into secret number five. Secret number five is finally AI. You want to leverage AI in the right way. And so this is a fairly cut and dry one, obviously, right? So there's a lot of different things that you can do in AI and ChatGPT and Gemini and all these AI platforms today. Um, I've put a few of them here that may be of interest to you. Feel free to take a picture of this slide with the task and the prompt, where you can tailor your resume to a specific job posting, match the ATS, transition into a new industry, or copy edit your resume. AI helps you move quicker with your resume, obviously, because it ensures that you can make updates to your resume without having to comb line by line. But of course, there are also AI best practices to consider. I've mentioned hallucinations twice already, so I'll mention it again here, in that AI will sometimes make numbers up and make data up you can um, you can look better. And so make sure that if you are going to make yourself look better, that you use relevant information and that you also use realistic information. Number two is to ensure accuracy, right? So AI will also take some of the things that you have and make you look better or make you look worse. And so you want to ensure that it's not giving you any bias. And then number three is to make sure that it is written in your voice. And so what you want to do is because AI checkers can now see whether something's been written wholly by AI, make sure that it's written in the language that you would use and you would say, and not in something that AI might make sound a lot more robotic. And so, with that said, I want to thank you for the last 40 minutes of listening to me about resumes. Feel free to join Albert's list. Again, the link is here. You'll join 50,000 people here. And I have one more thing for you as well. If you scan this QR code, you'll also get the resume that's gotten me 35 job offers over my last 4 job searches. And so that's the resume format that you saw earlier. It is available for free on Gumroad. I take donations. And so check that out and let me know what you think. And so with that said, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Garrett and I'll drive while he speaks.
Thank you, Albert. Really appreciate it. And I just want to point out to the people on the call that we will be sending out the slide deck and a recording of this as well for your reference. So you'll get that in the email and tomorrow or the next day. So many of the things that he points out, including things like the offers and the best practices information will be available to you. So I want to talk about as AI resume tools in our platform, Callings.ai. I'm going to go ahead and put into the chat a URL, which will allow you to try out Callings for 30 days for free, so you don't have to buy it. Callings.ai/Albert. And so let me tell you about what we're doing. Um, Obviously, Albert mentioned AI is essential to success. This is just the reality. AI helps us cut through noise by helping us message more clearly. It automates the painful steps in many workflows, especially the job hunt. It empowers personalization at scale, and it levels the playing field in a world in which AI is taking over the hiring side in a big way. And so what I want to do is tell you about some of the tools we provide to help institute the things that Albert recommended regarding resumes. First off, Callings is a comprehensive total job hunt platform AI enhanced across the entire workflow. The goal is to manage all the different steps of the workflow in one place so that you have a place to live and run your workflow in a seamless way. It's comprehensive, it's personalized, and we hope it's easy to use. So that's what Callings is. And what I want to do is talk a little bit about the tools that will help you with your resume that we've built into the platform. And so before I go through these four, I'm going to show you a fifth thing, which I didn't put on this slide, which is Albert said at the very beginning, and I love this, that the resume is a marketing document. I would add to that a job search is a sales process, and you are both the product and the salesperson. And your resume, your LinkedIn profile, etc., these are your sales tools that you use to attract interest in you. And so, in addition to the resume tools I'm about to talk about, we also offer the My Insights tab, which I'm going to demo in a bit, which allows you a way to develop all the material that you're going to need for your resume, your brand elements, your persona, what your goals are. And we do this by using you as the reference, both the documents that you share with us as well as the answers you provide. And so I'll get into that in a bit. And that's essential because you need to know who you are and where you're going to have a successful resume. Um, Within that, we also offer four types of resume assistance tools and callings. The first one is resume assessment. So we can take a look at your resume, and I'll demo this and provide you feedback on the resume so that you can continue to improve it as you go about your job hunt. We provide resume job matching. That is to say, we use your resume to compare it against millions of job posts to find job posts that you're qualified for and that you're likely to get through the applicant tracking systems with. The third thing is we provide resume improvement tools. So we can help you up res your resume for things like accomplishments. And then the final thing is we have job specific resume customization. So for every job you apply to, we can help you customize your resume in your voice with the information that is correct for you that will help you steer toward the job post that you're applying toward. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you the product really quickly and how you might use it to accomplish some of these tasks. And so I'm going to go here, and this is the Callings website. I'm going to start with the My Insights tab that I talked about. So for most people, you have some form of a resume. And what we ask at the beginning of your Callings onboarding is you share that confidentially with us. We do not share that with anybody without your permission, unless you apply for a job. Um, and we go through that and we do two things. We generate a series of questions about you that you can answer. For example, in my resume, um, I have a strategic alliances experience, and it says what types of partnerships have been most rewarding. How do you envision leveraging strategic alliances in your next role? And by answering these questions, we develop a series of reports that are going to help you as you develop your resume. The first one is, what are your key goals? Everybody's goals are different. Their needs and wants are different for a job. And so for me, the role, the responsibility, and the industries are the most important things. But for other people, it could be career growth or culture or compensation or work environment. And so what we help to do is prioritize that based on your resume and your answers. This is helpful because it comes up a lot when you're talking to people about the job hunt. Well, what are you trying to accomplish? It also helps you spot really where you want to go with your career. The second thing we help do is using your answers and your materials, we create a um, a ideal job description. This is the ideal job based on my answers, VP of Strategic Alliances and Product Innovation. And this helps me because it helps me articulate the things that I believe that I want. This is also used in our platform to then go out and compare to find jobs that match this, because obviously the goal of finding a true calling is to find the job that actually matches what you really want and what you're aiming for. The third thing we do is, and this is in beta, is we generate a persona. So many times people will say, okay, really quickly, tell me who you are. This is a common question in the job hunt. And they don't mean list where you used to work. What they mean is, what benefit are you going to provide my organization if I hire you? And so here's an example of some personas: innovation architect, or strategic alliance builder, or creative catalyst. One of the persons on our platform, and I love this, his persona is problem solver and ops. And so all of these help you again to articulate and communicate your value, which is what companies are looking for. Then the final thing we help you generate are brand elements. Your 20-second elevator pitch, your 2-minute elevator pitch, professional summary, which you might include on the top of your resume, as Albert mentioned, or in your LinkedIn profile, professional headlines, which might be a subhead in your resume. And these are all customized to you and the answers you provided and the resume that you provided. What makes you unique? These are questions people ask all the time. They're oftentimes gotcha questions in an interview. And by providing these and reflecting these back to you based on your answers, you'll have them in front of you and you'll be able to react and respond to them quickly and provide these. And it'll make you seem more articulate and clearer about what you want and what benefits you provide. Your top 10 skills, and then your top 10 achievements. And so these are all reports in the My Insights section of Callings. And we feel that this is a great starting point as you're polishing up your resume, because these are materials that help answer the questions that come up when you're working on a resume. The second thing I mentioned is we provide resume assessment tools. So when you upload a resume onto our platform, we do two things. The first thing we do is we convert it into a rich text format resume. As much as you love the formatting and the tables and the purple dinosaur watermark on your existing resume, the problem is that when you submit it to an applicant tracking system, they scrape all that data off. And so what we've learned is to help create a resume for you that you can submit to the applicant tracking systems that we're fairly confident will get through with the materials intact. And so that's why we do that. Um, and once we do that, we create a detailed assessment of your resume. We give you a 6-second verdict. This resume immediately signals seasoned, high impact product and partnership leader. So we provide the immediate strengths of your resume and potential red flags. And these aren't things that you've done wrong, but these are potentially messages that are in your resume that you need to be able to explain, or may raise doubts in their mind based on the role. And so, these are all very valuable feedback for you on your resume. The other thing we provide is, what does it say about you? What qualities and strengths do you project? What is your market fit? This one says I'm positioned for senior product alliances and innovation leadership roles. Obviously, if I was in finance, that would be bad. What is your career story? How does it articulate across to you? What are your implied future roles based on your resume? And then we provide a scorecard on the things that are essential in a resume. You'll notice that mine needs work in my quantifiable achievements. And Albert talked about this a lot. Companies want to know that if they hire you, you're going to deliver for them. And the way that they evaluate that is with percentages and numbers and trackable data. And so for me, I need to upgrade this on my resume. We do some peer benchmarking against other people that are similar to you to give you a sense of how your resume stands out, or where you might have gaps. And then we provide the next set of tools, which is ways to improve your resume. And so that's that third category that I mentioned. And so how that works inside of Callings is, say, for example, my recent impact metrics. I want to improve those to get my score higher here. If I click on that, we will bring up your resume with an AI editor, and then we will guide you through ways to improve your resume. So apparently I've done this demo before, but let's start with your consulting and entrepreneurial projects. For each one, can you share specific outcomes or numbers? For example, did you help a startup secure funding, launch product, or growth? And so by answering this, it will rebuild my resume on the right-hand side to improve it. And so these tools are available. You can go and use them on Callings to create a new resume or multiple resumes, and have those available to you. And so there's much more in here, but I'm just giving you the highlights because I don't want to burn too much time. But we can help you make your resume better. That's the main goal. Now, those are the resume tools for the existing resume. Now, when you're looking for a job, in our platform, we will go out and we will search for jobs that match your resume. And then we will provide a match score to show you the likelihood that you'll be considered for this role, the likelihood that you'll get through the applicant tracking systems, and then you can go ahead and add these to your tracker. Among the other things we provide is a full system, a tracking system to track your entire job hunt in one place. So you can add those jobs to your tracker and then pursue them, apply to them, etc. By the way, we're job agnostic, so you can use our plugin to add jobs from Indeed or LinkedIn or add jobs manually from a hiring site so that your entire job search is here. You're not dependent on us to find job roles for you. However, we do a pretty good job at it, and we're about to roll out a new job board in the next 30 to 60 days where we will have over 9 million jobs a month, which puts us up there with just about anybody in the marketplace. So we're excited about that coming. So once you've added the job to your tracking system, we provide a number of tools for pursuing that job. So I'm going to click on this Llama Index job, and we provide tools for evaluating your job. We provide a job fit report to show you where you're strong and weak, and where you need to articulate things better to get a better a shot at the role. We provide a company report, which basically details the latest news about the company, details about the company. In some cases, if they have one, we'll show you the Glassdoor rating. But I want to show, we're on the resumes today. I want to show you the next tab, which is prepare. And so we've taken that base resume that you uploaded, any corrections that you've made, and based on looking at this job and this job post, we have created a new custom resume for you. Now, we try and be very careful with AI not to hallucinate or add things that are not true about you. And what we do is you can click on this Edit AI button, and we will launch this resume in this window, and you will see, just like in Microsoft Word, you will see what's changed. So there's a change management system in here. And so everything in green is what's been rewritten by our AI, and everything in red is what was rewritten. And then we tell you why we did it. Here's the reasoning and the coaching hints. So you can go through, and by the way, this is a full word processor. So you can, if you don't like what the AI did for you, you can rewrite it yourself, or you can hit keep original to keep what you originally had, or accept changes to take what we did. And what you're doing is building a custom resume for this specific role. And so I'm going to go ahead here. And so I accept these changes. For my consulting work, I'm going to keep my originals. For this one, I'll accept changes. And I highly recommend to all of you that you accept changes for your skills block, because this is where applicant tracking systems tend to obsess, and they're looking for the keywords from the job post. So unless you don't have these skills, I would highly recommend that you accept those. And so, boom, as quickly as that, and we want this process to take 5, 10 minutes at most per job, you have a new custom resume for this role. And when you hit save, we'll take you out of it and you can download a PDF or the .doc. We generate a cover letter to go with it, which you can edit using AI or manually. And then you can go ahead and apply to the job up here. And so those are the resume tools that we provide. And again, we don't believe that AI should be left on its own. You need to curate your resume through this process if you want a reasonable chance of being considered properly. And what we do is we want to accelerate that process. And so the goal of this is to get you a custom resume and a cover letter for every job very quickly. By the way, we also go out and we provide networking contacts for you so that after you apply, you can then reach out to all these people. We generate, for example, this is a lead product manager role. We found the head of products for this. And if you hit reach out, we'll generate the outreach message, and we even find an email for him so you can send him a direct message rather than fighting your way through InMail on LinkedIn. So there's much, much more on the platform. Our goal is to be a workflow system. But as I mentioned, the main things we want to do regarding resume on Callings.ai is help you to generate the materials that articulate your personal brand, help you improve your resume and assess it so you have a good sense of where you're going with it, and then find a way to make a custom resume for each role that you apply to. And by the way, in the tracker, after you leave, say you don't hear back from 30 days, that resume is always available to you so that you always know exactly what you sent, along with exactly what cover letter you sent. So we track that. You can archive it if time goes by, but you really can't delete it because we want you to have access to it for as long as possible. So those are just a few of the many things in Callings.ai, and we hope they can help you in your job search to make it a little less stressful and a more like painting by numbers. And so with that, I'll stop sharing, and I'm going to go back and just really quickly show you the URL, and you guys can all um, go and try out Callings for a month without any obligations. Just type in callings.ai/Albert. By the way, it may be that you want to type that in lowercase. I can't remember if URLs are case sensitive, but I know lowercase works. So with that, I can turn it back over to Albert, and we can do a Q&A.
Will Callings.ai remove all hallucinations, or do we have to do that?
We work hard to not create any hallucinations. Only you know if something is an hallucination, though. And I think this is true for any AI tool. Review it, right? AI works for you. It's your assistant, your agent. And like any agent, you should manage it so that it doesn't go off the rails. But we're pretty conservative about what our AI rewrites on your behalf.
Um, what is the AI model on Callings.ai?
We have a number of AI models in the platform, depending on which area you're in. For example, we use OpenAI. We use Perplexity, which is really great for authenticated data. We use, I think, Claude and a few others. I think we have a few of our own models as well. So, we're an entire workflow platform, not just a one hit pony. And so what we found is that, we're going to need different types of AI for different problems across the platform.
In a resume, what about keywords in hidden white font? This was a big trend years ago to catch SEO. Yeah, that's a big no-no. Um, People can see that now, and if they see that you're keyword stuffing, it's going to disqualify you from moving forward in the hiring process. So I would highly recommend against that. Yeah. Can the match job feature in Callings.ai be modified to not include certain recruiters? The question for you, Pierre.
I would need more information about the question. Generally, if you're sending a resume out to a recruiter, then obviously you have complete control over what they get. If you're submitting through a company website for a job or from a job board, then you don't have much control over who receives it. It generally goes into a pool and the company manages it from there. Um, and so I guess if you're reaching out to recruiters, in many ways, I think the recommendation on a slight per job customization goes, but also per recruiter. You probably want to send slightly different resumes to different recruiters based on what you know about them if you have time to do it. Because you're always trying what you're marketing yourself, right? And like any good marketing, you steer your marketing message based on the audience. And so,
Yeah, this
I think
person has a list of recruiters that only seem to be resume collecting.
Ah, well, you have to remember that, yeah, some recruiting companies, they really want to be in the data business, and so they're trying to collect resumes so then they can resell that data out. Um, so I would definitely try and align yourself with recruiters that are reputable and are specifically looking at you for a role. Does that make sense, Albert?
Yep. You've got some love here. I love Callings.ai. I have had a problem though with the resume part. When I do an additional application, it reverts back to my initial resume rather than a new one that I wanted to work from.
Yes. So
Maybe that's a technical issue.
we have some ideas which should be coming out in the next few months on how we've had people ask us if they can have multiple resumes in the system. Right now we have your quote unquote base resume in which we use to steer everything we do after that. But if you make changes, you need to upload and re-add your base resume for us to start over. and we will not rewrite all the resumes you've already created and sent out because you need those as a record. But we intend to be more flexible in the future where you can have multiple resumes. Some people, for example, are looking in two different areas for a job. Maybe one is in one is in the private sector and one is in not for profit. And if that's the case, you probably want to tell two different stories in two different markets. And so it is our intention to support multiple personas in the future.
Can an ATS system or recruiter tell that we have used Callings.ai?
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's a lot of companies selling the idea that they can spot AI. Um, I personally don't believe it's true. I have seen, for example, I'm a writer and I uploaded all of my writing documents from before 2010. So I know no AI was used on those. And, they gave me scores of 60 to 70%. So apparently I write just like ChatGPT, but I think there are some tells that ChatGPT uses. It uses certain types of flowering language. It uses M dashes. And so that's the case. But it's going to be tough for anybody to really evaluate what's been written by what. And what I encourage you to do is to go through each of the resumes that you submit for a job and make certain it reflects you and in your language. That's the best way to ensure that you're in good shape.
I am not seeing the new persona beta section on my paid version. How often do beta features get added to the paid version?
It's coming. I probably got into trouble by my engineering team for showing it in advance, but it's too cool to not show. But it's coming. We hope to have it out to you, hopefully within the next 30 days.
Perfect. All right. Is there any way to configure Outreach Assistant to send a message to the recruiter directly?
Yes. So in addition to what I showed you, which is us finding you contacts, there is a part of the tool that allows you to enter in people that you know. And then we'll not only track that along with the job, but you can use it to customize outreach messaging, and we might even be able to find their email.
Um, how do I upload a different or new resume now on Gumroad, on not on Gumroad, on Callings?
So if you go to the My Resume tab, there's a button that allows you to replace your resume. As I mentioned, what that will do is it will not change any of the stuff you've previously generated from your previous resume unless you consciously regenerate it. But it will moving forward generate off of the new resume. And that's the hack, by the way, if you want multiple resumes and multiple personas, is we have users that flip back and forth. We know that's not optimal, but it does work.
I have a few different titles or roles I'm interested in. I have different resume versions for each title, but how do I handle LinkedIn? Yeah, so with regard to LinkedIn, I mean, I would look at the common theme in your career and career interests and work off of that. So make sure that you have alignment on that front and can speak to those. If everything is very different, though, I would probably focus on like completely different, like you're interested in zookeeper, gas station store owner, and product marketing manager. Then I would focus on one particular role in mind that is your best out of all of that. Okay. I read that AI puts in certain tags in resumes and that if we convert it to PDF, the tags will be stripped. Is this true? Then should we convert it back to a Word document, but the formatting gets all screwed up? Yeah, I would focus on AI putting your resume together and then you typing out the resume yourself in that type of situation, right? A lot of this extra stuff goes into your AI here, and so you want to be able to get that stuff out of there so that it's not as prevalent. Okay. All right. I see Garrett's answering Norbert's question. All right. Anyone else with any questions here? I apologize. I'm going to figure out why my resume download isn't working, but we'll send that around soon. Um, what would be the best way to get into the tech industry who have experience in teaching? Well, number one, Your industry in teaching currently is probably a little bit more stable. But if you really want to get on the roller coaster and do that, focus on people-centric type of roles. So customer success, internal communications, learning and development, sales, all of those would be a really good um, direct translation. Yeah.
Many tech companies have training departments.
Yep.
And then, of course, there's also tech companies that are in the education business. There's Coursera, there's Khan Academy, and so that they oftentimes are looking for people with your background because they're selling into the industry that you're leaving. So
Yep. All right. Wonderful. Thank you, Norbert. Appreciate it. I'm glad that it was helpful. All right. The QR code is unavailable because my product is unavailable for download. So I will figure that one out later. But Garrett's Callings.ai is available at Callings.ai/Albert. So I do encourage you to sign up for that and check that out. Um, so,
Albert, you and I can work on it, and I can send an email out to all the attendees,
yep.
and we'll get a link that works for you all. So rest assured, we'll get you the templates that Albert has.
Yep, perfect. Cool. So we are now 6 minutes after the top of the hour. We want to thank everybody for joining us today and be spending your time here. Garrett, any final words before I close it out?
Just hang in there on a job hunt. It's a painful process, but the thing that I tell everybody to hold on to is it's a workflow process. Let go of outcomes and just do the work. Submit to the jobs, do the networking. Good things will happen.
All right, awesome. So we will go ahead and send out the recording of this webinar in a couple of days or when I ever get to Garrett. You can review it there, and we'll also include the resume download. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you soon. Best of luck in your job search. Keep plodding on, and your next opportunity is right around the corner. See you,
Thank you,
everybody.
Albert. You're
Bye.
awesome.
Thank you. Bye.